Today, guys, like we will cover the first hop redundancy protocol, which are like HSRP, BRRP, and GLBP. First, guys, like mainly like we mainly focus on HSRP because that is the protocol we use. And then definitely we will also compare like VRRP and GLBP, and we will also see the scenario. Okay, like if I like making the company diagram. So where those technology we can fit, okay. So first, like understand like what is this first hop redundancy protocol. So if you see this diagram on the like as we have a two core switches. So on the core we create SBI interface. Okay, so this is like my SBI interface on a core one, and this is my SBI interface on a core two. Okay, and those SBI interface become a default gateway on the end machine. So now the question is, so do we like configure the like SBI one as a default gateway, or do we configure the SBI of core 2 as a default gateway? So that is basically the concern here we have, because if we put the physical IP, let's say 1.1, all my traffic will go via core, then towards to the internet. And if this device goes down, then I need to manually change the default gateway, which is 1.2, so that the traffic will go through via the core 2. Okay, so this is not possible, right? So that's why these protocol introduce. Okay, when we have a two gateway, it's not like only related with the LAN. I will also show you some other scenario. So what those protocol do, okay, they will provide you basically the one virtual IP. Because as we know, there's a basic networking, okay, IP and the default gateway always in a same network. So they will provide you like any virtual IP, like in this scenario, like 1.3. And in HSRP, one device is basically become active and other is standby. So idea is when all the traffic will go via the active device, in case if this link goes down or device goes down, or even my WAN link goes down, the other device become an active device. So they will communicate to each other, okay, like who is active, who is standby. In case of failover scenario, the other will take care, okay. So that's why basically we use these three protocol, HSRP, VRRP, GLBP. And as we know, like on a LAN, these days, guys, like we use stacking, like on 9500, we're using VSL, virtual stackwise virtual, okay. We don't need these protocol, okay? Because you see, like let's say we are using 9500 on a core, and then we have access layer switches. This is in a stack, okay. So logically, guys, like my topology become like this, because both the switches become a single switch. So you will see only one SBI interface IP address, okay. So in that case, definitely you don't need to run any first hop redundancy protocol in your LAN network. However, let's say we have the scenario like after that might be we installing the firewall, then might be we installing the router here, okay. This is a layer 2 switch, the router. Then here we're terminating the WAN connection. Over these two router, okay, even those router sharing the same LAN IP. So let's say the IP address is 117.16.1.1, 1.2. Even the firewall when they pointing the route, okay. So the same question raised here, okay, where we need to point the default gateway IP. I mean the next hop IP. So it could be like 1.1 and 1.2. The same scenario, guys, like when any scenario you see when we have multiple gateway, on that scenario, definitely we need some virtual IP so that both that gateway can communicate to each other and track each other, okay? So on those scenario, guys, we will use HSRP or VRRP or GLV. So the point is, guys, like you can even also configure the HSRP on your router. And if you're not running Cisco, then you might be running like VRRP, which is like Juniper or any other vendor. So in this diagram, guys, like as we are not using like stack-wise virtual, so I have a two VLAN 10 or 20, and I have a two core switches, okay? And both core switches basically providing me the default gateway option. And here, guys, like we will use HSR. So it's not necessary, like I seen like even my current company, okay, we are using still HSRP. We are not using stack wise virtual on 9500. Okay, we are not running that. It depends, guys, like how you want to configure your network. Some people they still using HSRP. The reason behind this, even if you see the like just few days back, okay, like some of my previous student, he also raising this question. So the idea is like in HSRP, you are very clear, okay, you are very clear. Let's say this is my active device, this is my standby device, and if I am doing any activity on this device, let's say switch iOS upgrade, the other will take care. I mean, like same thing you can achieve in stack-wise virtual also. So like as both the switches become a single switch, and both the and this has like active soup, this has like standby soup engine, okay, which is CPU. And if we reboot this box, okay, as I told you last time, okay, if everything is dual connector, there will be no outage. But still, people I seen like they basically feel comfortable with HSRP. So it totally depends how you design your network. But this is a new design. In a LAN, definitely you don't want to use HSRP if your switches support like earlier DSS, or because you see like when you're running HSRP, you are individually managing your core switches. Core 1 and core 2. So you need to do SSH and do the configuration. Same thing, like you need to do SSH to your core 2 and do the configuration. Because stack-wise virtual also, you can like basically you can manage both the switches, okay, together. So it is basically less overhead, okay, as an administration purpose. So that's why, guys, if some company I seen they still using HSRP, and some they move to stack wise virtual. So let's see now in this topology, okay, I'm going to configure the HSRP. Then again, we will see some verification command and the troubleshooting and the interview question perspective. Okay, let's do the configuration. So if we going to core 1, okay, on core 1, we already have, I believe, like SBI interface, and our core 2, we don't have any configuration. Okay, so if we see show IP interface brief, there is no SBI interface configure on core 2. However, on core 1, last time like we did the practical of intervenor routing. So we at that time like we configure the SBI interface on only on core 1. Okay. So this is basically show IP interface brief. Any you mistype, okay, by default it is doing the domain lookup, DNS lookup. So you can disable this feature, okay, only in a lab. So no IP domain lookup. So show IP interface brief. Okay, even this switch has also lost the configuration. Okay, let me see. Show VLAN brief. Do we have a VLAN in that database? Yes, we have VLAN 10 and 20. So let's create the SPI interface VLAN 10 and IP address is 192.168.1.252. This is my physical IP. No shut. And on core 2, I'm also doing the configuration interface VLAN 10 IP address. This is my physical IP 1.253, 255, 255, 255. No shit. So physically, guys, I'm going to use the IP address last. So 252 and 253. And my virtual IP will be 254. So like here, like we have a two VLAN. In the real world, let's say if you have a 10 VLAN, each VLAN has different subnet. So 252 is basically for on a core 1, that is my physical IP. 253, that is my core 2 physical IP. And 254, that is my last usable IP, is my virtual IP. And that IP I will use on all the end machine as a gateway. So let's do the configuration for HSRP. So on a core 1, the minimum configuration we require to configure the HSRP. So this configuration, guys, we need to do under the each SPI interface. Okay. If you have a physical interface, let's say you are configuring HSRP on a router, you have an IP address configured on the physical interface, then you need to do the configuration under the physical interface. So here, guys, like we will say interface VLAN 10 standby, and then use the question mark. Okay. So you see, this is the group number. So technically, guys, like you can use single group number for each VLAN. That's not an issue. But some people, okay, they design the network like this. Like if you're configuring the HSRP for VLAN 10, then the HSRP group number also using 10, just for the clarification. Okay. Just for the clarification, it doesn't need to be match, but you can configure like that. But the question is, guys, like the VLAN range is from 1 to 4094. However, the HSRP range is only 0 to 255. In that case, that's why they introduced the HSRP version 2. In HSRP version 2, the group range is like 1 to 4094. Okay, so that's the main difference between like HSRP version 1 and HSRP version 2. Like if you want to use the HSRP version 2, like first we need to define the command standby version, and use the question mark. You can specify, okay, you want to use the HSRP version 2. If you're using the version 2, the only main difference, like first, the group range, okay. So if we see the group range now, you see like a group range is increased. Earlier, like it was showing only the group range is 255, but once you configure the HSRP version 2, the group range is now increased. That is same equivalent to like the VLAN number. But again, guys, as like each interface has different configuration, even on every interface, you can use the same group number. Okay. So here, guys, like I will say standby version 1, which is default. This is the optional command, guys. mainly first we need to define standby group number 10. I'm using this group number 10 because I'm using this for VLAN 10. Then we need to define the IP address. Okay, this is my virtual IP 254. And the second command we require the priority. Okay, by default priority is 100. So as I want to make this switch as an active switch, I will configure the higher priority. On a core 2, I will do the configuration guide like interface VLAN 10 standby group. Yeah, this need to be matched, okay, on both sides. And IP 192.168.1.254. That is it. So once you like configure this configuration, let me show you the configuration again, like for HSRP. So show run interface VLAN 10. The configuration is on core 1, these two commands. This is the minimum configuration. First, only we define the virtual IP. We define the higher priority. Priority is 100 by default. On the core 1, we configure the higher priority because we want to make this switch as a primary. On a core 2, just we only define the virtual IP. As a result, okay, if you go to the end machine, okay, this is my end machine, the show IP route. This machine don't have any default gateway set. So we need to set the default gateway like using default route, okay, 0000, 192.168.1.25. Okay, so if we see the verification command, and then later on we will understand like end-to-end flow, how the switches in middle, okay, they will figure out like when this switch is active, we need to send the traffic towards to the active switch. If this goes down, if this switch goes down, then they will automatically figure out we need to send the traffic towards to this side. So here guys, like I will show you like how this switch is no, okay, like when failure happen, how immediately they will forward the traffic towards to the core 2. Okay. So first, like if you see the verification command, show standby brief. You see, like this is a short command, okay, and you can see that I am active local. That means I am basically the active switch, and the standby is 253, which is our core 2, and this is virtual IP. And if you want to see the detail, okay, like show standby, then question mark. So you can see, you can also see, guys, how long your HSRP is stable. And this is the virtual MAC of HSRP. And the last two number, okay, this is for the group number. So group is basically we have a 10. So this is basically hexadecimal, okay. So hexadecimal like 0 to 9, then 10 is basically equivalent to A. That's why showing 0A. So the last two number is basically that is defining the group number. By default, every 3 seconds, we are sending the hello packet. The hold down timer is 10 seconds. That means if let's say this switch goes down, it will wait for 10 seconds to become active. Okay. So you can say this is basically like the conversion speed. And the next hello I'm sending in this minute. Okay. Preemption is disabled. I tell you basically, but it's preemption because this is normally we also enable the command in the real world. And I'm active because I have a higher priority. My standby has the default priority, which is 100. So this is the configuration. And On the other side, you will see the state is standby. Okay, if you run the same command on core 2, show standby. If you run the command I'm a standby, virtual Mac, and the priority is 100. Okay, so the understanding, okay, like even this, the Mac is remains same. Okay, so not only they will provide the virtual IP address, they will also provide the virtual MAC address. And the reason, guys, like if you understand, okay, I don't know, like maybe you heard or not, like earlier, what they do, okay, some of the failover technology, they use different MAC. But the reason, guys, like if you see, even both are basically providing the same virtual MAC, AC 0. The reason why, because you see, like even this machine, all my end machine, they also maintain the ARM table. So if this device goes down, the devices, they don't need to update their ARM table. Okay, that's why they are providing the same IP and the same MAC address. Okay, because if you understand, okay, let's say uh, uh, this active has different MAC and this device standard has different MAC, and if this device goes down, so they also need to update their R table entry. That's why, guys, they will providing the same MAC address. Okay. So if we do the failover, okay, so in this scenario, guys, like if we see this middle switch, switch 3, on switch 3, show MAC address. So this is like the virtual MAC address, guys. So this is like always remains first digit, and the last number is a HSRP group number. And you can, like right now, it is going to was to gigabit 0y1, which is going towards to the core 1, which is our active device. So you can ping, like if you want to ping your default gateway, which is ping 192.168.1.254. So I can ping my uh, default gateway, and you can see that the traffic is going towards to the core 1. Because if you see switch 3 MAC address table, it is showing like for this MAC address, I'm sending the traffic towards to gigabit 0y1. So let's say, guys, like if I'm going to shut down this switch, then all your traffic will go to this direction. Okay, code. Here, guys, like the way I can test this, okay, let's say on core 1, I'm going to remove the VLAN. Okay, let's say VLAN 10. So the point you get, like for VLAN 10, now this is not serving. Okay, this is not serving anything. So think like that. The switch is goes down. And or now, if you go to core 2, okay, core 2 is basically saying I am the active one. I am the active one. Show standby brief, or show standby just. Okay. Now this is now become active. And the standby, it is showing unknown because this is down. And if we see the traffic now, again, the end machine, okay, the end machine host 1 still able to ping the default gateway. You see, like still this IP is responding. And if you see a switch this middle, okay, in middle, switch 3 is showing MAC address table. Now the entry is for this MAC address is automatically showing to gigabit 0y2, which is going towards to the core 2. So the point is kind of here how the middle device is okay. How they shift the MAC address. So like earlier AC02 towards to this side, but once this switch is become active, this device basically sending the GR packet. So what is a GR packet? Okay, GR packet is basically R reply without any request. So this is saying, hey, anyone who want to reach the this IP address, which is a virtual IP, and this is the MAC, send the traffic towards to me. So these middle devices, okay, as they are getting this R packet and update their MAC address table. So they will basically remove this MAC address and then update the MAC address towards to this site. Because this is how like switch basically maintain the MAC address table through the ARP request. So this is basically saying this device is saying now I'm the active, I'm sending this GR packet, and GR packet is like also known as gracious ARP or gratis ARP. Okay, so this means like hey, anyone want to reach this IP address or this MAC, send the traffic to us to me. That's why like in middle, even this technology use any failover technology. Okay, whether you are like learning firewall technology, failover technology in checkpoint firewall, Palo Alto, ASA, in middle switches. Okay, that's why they update their CAM table. Okay, when the other device become active. So similarly, guys, you see, if your device like came back, so VLAN 10, and as this has a higher priority, so it should become active. But by default, it not happen. Okay, the reason permission is disabled. So what is permission do? Okay, permission basically uh, allowing ensure us, okay, a device which has higher priority configure, if that device is up and running, that will be the active device. So right now, even though like my device is come back, okay, but you will see like still this device is showing active. So you can see like show standby, my state is active. Okay, this is might be guys because of EVNG. Okay, or standby router is showing unknown. Wait a minute. Show standby. Okay, I'm also seeing active. Okay. So this is basically because of guys like HSRP. As I remove the VLAN, so when I create the VLAN 30, behind the scene, like they are basically exchanging the hello packet, which is the switch BPDU, and figuring out who is active in spanning tree, okay, not in HSRP. And you see like show standby brief, show standby. This is also showing active, and this is also showing now standby. So ultimately, guys, here this is showing standby because it has the lower priority. But in the real world, guys, like definitely you want to enable the permission. Okay. So device, because if you by default permission is disabled, so any device, okay, where you have configured the higher priority, only on that device, you will run this command also, permission. Standby at 10, permission is on. So show standby, permission is on. Okay. So in that case, guys, you will do this configuration, okay, for each VLAN. So for VLAN 20 also interface VLAN 20, you will do the configuration like VLAN 20, IP address 192.168.2.252. This is my physical IP 255.255.255 and no shutdown. Here, guys, like as I told you, you can use the same group number. Okay, that's not an issue. Every as you are doing the configuration, okay, under the each SBI, that is basically a separate HSRP configuration. Okay, even you can use the same group number. Okay, but if you have like let's say only 10 or 20 VLAN, maybe just for the clarification, okay, like this group number you will match to the VLAN number 192.168.20.254. We need to define the virtual IP. Sorry, 2.54. Standby 20 priority 101 standby 20 preemption. So in each VLAN, basically, if you see, you will do this configuration on a core. If you're not running stack wise virtual, 10 and 20. Okay, the one major issue. Okay, one major issue you will see when you configuring the HSRP. Make sure like you will need to understand. Okay, like anything you learning in networking, you need to understand how this work in OSI layer, because this will guys help you for the troubleshooting point of view. So as we know, like HSRP is an application. Okay? It's a UDP application. It's on a layer 4, it use UDP and it use port number 1985. So like later on, guys, like any protocol you will learn, okay, let's say you run OSPF, you learn BGP, any protocol you will learn, you need to understand like those protocol use which transport. Some protocol they has their own transport. Some basically they use either TCP or UDP. Like most of your application, they use TCP or UDP. So by default, they use like every 3 seconds they sending the hello packet, and this protocol communicate over UDP 1985. If someone, let's say, block this transport, then you will face the issue. Let me show you guys, like, let's say I will create one ACL interface to allow only internet traffic for VLAN 10. So I have a requirement here for VLAN 10, make sure this VLAN is very critical VLAN, and they should have like a limited access, okay, only to the internet, okay, and internet for we require port 80 and 443. So I will create a, let's say on a core, maybe I will also apply some restriction on the firewall as well as the core, because this VLAN is very secure, because even this VLAN shouldn't communicate to the other VLAN also. So this kind of requirement I will get, because you see like the inter-VLAN communication, let's say if you install the firewall here, and as this VLAN is very secure, VLAN 10, and even this VLAN cannot communicate to other VLAN. So in that case, you will apply the security policy on a core, okay? Because the inter-VLAN routing communication happen through the core switch, okay, not through by the firewall. So in that case, you will see like you might be create the ACL. So IP access list extender and let's say any name, okay, like this is for filtering for VLAN 10. Then maybe we'll allow, like, say, permit or deny IP. The source is for VLAN 10, which is, or let's say any, okay, any, and if it is going to my internal network. Then permit IP any EQ for internet 80. Permit TCP any EQ 80. Permit UDP any, sorry, TCP any EQ 443. So if we see the ACL, okay, the show IP access list. So I have created 3 entry. The first, like, as the we have requirement, okay, make sure this will, okay, what I create. Okay, I think here, guys, this is a wildcard mask, okay, not a subnet mask. In when we create the ACL, let me create the entry again, okay, because as per my requirement, this VLAN shouldn't communicate to my any other VLAN. That's why I basically create this entry, okay. But this is, guys, I created the wrong entry. Let me correct this, okay. So if we want to, let's say, remove any previous entry, we can say simply this is the sequence number. We can say sequence number no, and we will again create the new sequence number, okay, which is 10, because 2030 we already have. So as we know, like, ACL work, okay, in sequential order from top to bottom. So we say deny IP any. So as we gonna apply this ACL to on a SPA interface, VLAN 10. So that is only applied to V for a VLAN 10. Okay. So here I will say like 192.168.0.0.0.255.255. So show IP access list extended, or show IP access list. So the first entry is saying if any traffic, any source going to this destination, because my other VLAN, they all start from these 2 octet, okay. So might be like I have a third VLAN, and for third VLAN, I'm using 3.0/24. Any 2 octet, like if this machine going to any destination IP, let's say VLAN 20, 30, or VLAN 40, they will match the traffic to this entry and deny the traffic. The rest communication, if the internet is if the destination is internet, like Google IP, which are public IP, those will be allowed. So I'm going to, like, as per my requirement, I'm going to apply the ACL. I'm going to apply the ACL where? On my SPA interface, okay, IP access group. This is my ACL, and I'm going to apply inbound. Okay, so I apply the ACL. Now what happened? So if you see show standby brief on all the devices, show standby brief, you see for VLAN 10, my device, standby device showing unknown. Even on the core 2, if you see show standby brief, for VLAN 10, it is showing, look, the same configuration, guys, like you will do this side also, like the ACL, because that's the disadvantage of, like, when you managing both the core individually. So you need to do the configuration on the core 1, and the same configuration we need to do on a core 2. Okay. So I will, like, take this configuration, like show run include or section access list. So this is the configuration I have configured on a core 2 also, and interface VLAN 10, interface VLAN 10, IP access group. The reason, obviously, guys, like you will because what we want, okay, if all my traffic is going to us to through our core one, and on core one we have applied the ACL, and as per my requirement, VLAN 10 has limited access. Okay, in future, if this device goes down, then we know that the traffic will go via core 2, and obviously that we also want the core 2 also has the identical configuration. So then the traffic is going through via core 2, make sure the VLAN 10 has the same limited access. Okay. So in this case, guys, like if we see, like once we apply the ACL on the both side, the problem we are getting now in HSRP show standby for VLAN 10, I'm showing as active on a core 2. Similarly, on core 1, this device is also showing active. The reason, guys, when we sending the traffic, okay, when we sending the traffic, this ACL is also blocking the control plan traffic. So in CCNA, you might study, okay, like ACL is used only to filter the data plan traffic. This statement is right, but not 100%. When we apply the ACL, even in inbound, so even this traffic, let's say the HSRP packet sending from one box to another box, if we apply the inbound ACL also drop the control plan traffic. When we sending the traffic, let's say UDP port number 1985, this transport is not allowed. So when we sending the HSRP hello packet, those are getting dropped because of ACL, and they both the boxes, okay, they are not communicate to each other. That's why both are showing active. In that case, guys, definitely you will see the abnormal behavior in your network might be because this switch might be confused where both are showing active, where I need to send the traffic. So you will see the abnormal behavior. Like I remember one of the machine, they able to connect to the one destination server and other is not. Then we found this, okay, as when we apply the ACL, we forget to allow the UDP transport for HSRP, and that was causing the issue. So in that case, guys, remember when we apply any ACL on a router on a switch, make sure we are not breaking the control plan traffic. If you break that, then you might be in a trouble. Okay. So in this case, guys, like I might be also allow IP access list extender. And this is my ACL name. So I might be say, let's say permit UDP any, you can very specific, okay. I want to also allow the communication over this port. Similarly on a core 2 also IP access list extender. I want to allow the communication over this port. So once you see like now they are properly communicate to each other, and one device should show active and other should show standby VLAN 10. The other will show standby. Okay, so if you run this command, even if you see this message showing standby, show standby VLAN 10. Last change, state change happened 15 seconds ago. This basically show you guys like how stable is your network. Okay. Any question up to this point? Any question?
Sir, what's the range of priority? Like you give 1, 0.
So the priority is basically like any number, any higher number, okay, more than 100. So I believe like if the priority is also around, I believe up to 255, but if you can see the priority range, okay, like VLAN 10, standby at 10, priority is 20 to 255. So might be, yeah, you can add more devices, more than two. So even switch 1, 2, 3, 4, one will be active, other is standby, and these might be are in listen state. Okay, you can also configure 4 switches in HSR.
And when you say that, so it's according to the VLAN, or we can define something as a group also, or it always has to be with the VLAN tag,
So
like a VLAN.
if you configuring on a core, so core most probably that is a VLAN. But if you configuring on a router, then that is the interface perspective. Okay, then let's say if my router is connected to this core, and I have a same scenario, I have a two default gateway. I need a virtual IP. Then I will do the configuration on this physical interface, HSRP config. Any question? Vishal, Mahesh? Okay, one thing I also want to discuss. Okay, so Vishal, like in your company, are you using Cisco switches or Mahesh?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Cisco. And
Cisco cut list, sir. This side just you.
okay, you see, like guys, so when we're purchasing the Cisco switch, okay, they basically provide us the, so any issue in a let's say on a switch, if you getting any issue and if you are not able to resolve that issue, you are basically raising the tag case, right?
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes. We are raising to the entity.
Entity.
Entity means that is third party support.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
third party entity data is third party support for Cisco switches routers.
And do you know like how much you are how much they are charging for that support?
Don't know, sir, but in case of any issue, we will raise a request. Major issues.
So what I am thinking is like even my company, okay, my company, like my manager is also very good, okay. He this is the first time I have seen here, okay. He is not taking any support from Cisco. Any only we are like getting the support from the hardware perspective. Let's say if any hardware issue, then we can raise the tag case. But if any other issue, let's say slowness issue or any like a zero connectivity issue, so those kind of issue basically we will solve by own. So what I am offering, okay, अगर आप लोगों की आपकी मैनेजर के साथ बनती है ऐसी सेम काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट आई कैन ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड यू उस
Sir,
केस में क्या
actually problem
उस केस में
problem
मैं बताता हूँ उस केस में कैसे जैसे अगर आपकी मैनेजर के साथ बनती है maybe you can check with your manager, hey, how much we are paying to like any third party or Cisco. तो अगर कोई मेरे से कोलैबोरेट करना चाहता है तो जितने भी जैसे कोई भी चाहे स्लोनेस के इशू है चाहे कोई भी एसटीपी का कुछ भी ज़्यादा इशू आता है आपका अपग्रेड करना है कोई सजेशन है तो वो हम खुद ही टैकल कर लेंगे 90% मैं कहता हूँ हम टैकल कर लेंगे।
Okay. What about hardware, sir? Hardware is different.
हार्डवेयर की तो लेनी पड़ेगी ना, वो तो आपको
No,
एंटिटी तो
different.
एंटिटी तो दे, वो तो
आरएम
आपको
में रेस करना पड़ेगा सर उसके लिए तो।
वो तो सिस्को से ले, वो तो पता क्या है, मेरा पॉइंट ये है, पहले ये चेक करना कितने पैसे देते हो आप साल के, क्योंकि यहाँ पे ना मैंने देखा कॉस्ट बहुत हाई थी, लेकिन क्या है, अब जो मैनेजर है उसकी भी काफ़ी हाई स्किल्स है, तो यहाँ पे मैंने देखा, मैं यार सही है यार, और क्या है, क्योंकि मेरे को याद है, अच्छा तुम लोगों ने कितनी बार सिस्को का टैग रेज कर रहा था, मतलब एंटिटी के साथ, मतलब किसी को कोई याद है, और लास्ट टाइम कितने इशू थे, कोई 5 इशू इकट्ठे कर लो और मेरे साथ डिस्कस करो, अगर आपके मैनेजर के साथ बनती है तो मतलब अगर ऐसे कोई मतलब कर सकते हैं, आपका भी फायदा होगा पैसों का और मेरा भी, देखो।
क्यों? नहीं, टिकट तो रेस किया हमने लास्ट मंथ शायद 5 6 7 तक रेस किया होगा शायद।
तो केस किया सर हमने रेट उसके लिए।
माई पॉइंट इज, जो टिकट रेज करे थे वो टिकट क्या थे, क्या इशू थे, आप मेरे साथ 1 to 1, वैसे आपकी मतलब आप ये डिस्कस कर सकते हो, आप इतनी है आपके मैनेजर के साथ, मतलब कितने पे करते हैं, वो आपको बता देगा नंबर ही, पहले तो ये बताओ।
नहीं, recently sir, I have raised the request for after activation we have some vulnerabilities after scan. We got that SHA and uh, something is there, sir. We got that. We need to resolve that.
नहीं, मैं क्या ऑफर कर रहा हूँ समझिए आप, मैं पहले ये बताओ जसवीर, समझिए आप क्या, मैं क्या ऑफर कर रहा हूँ।
मैं समझ गया सर कि जो भी सिस्को के
समझे?
साथ आप टैग रेस करते हो, इंटरनली आप अपने मैनेजर से बात करो कि आप कितना चार्ज करते हैं आपको, तो आप उस सिस्को को ना टैग रेस करके हम प्रॉब्लम आपको दें। जैसे मतलब इससे हमारे भी स्किल तो शार्प होंगे और थोड़ा कंपनी का भी पैसा बच जाएगा।
हम्म।
क्योंकि हमें तो एक्चुअली सिस्को जो भी काम करेगा हमें थोड़ी ना बताएगा, आपसे बात करेंगे तो आपके थ्रू हमें भी थोड़ा शार्प होएगा ना स्किल वगैरह हमारे भी।
हम्म। जी, ये ऑफर कर रहा हूँ। मेरा, अगर तुम बहुत ज़्यादा हाई पैसे पे कर रहे हो सिस्को को, तो सिर्फ कंपनी को अपने हायर मैनेजमेंट से पूछो भी हाँ, हमारे पास बंदा है, वो प्रॉब्लम प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर देगा, और कुछ उसको प्रूफ देने के लिए मैं ये कह रहा था, अगर आप कोई 5 केसेस भी उठा लो पिछले, ठीक है, तो उस पे अगर मेरे से बात में डिस्कस करो तो मैं आपको बताऊंगा भी हाँ इसमें ये कर सकते थे, ऐसे सोल्व किया होगा, तो वो चेक कर सकते हैं ना, वेरीफाई नॉलेज मतलब। तो मेन पॉइंट क्या है, देखो कंपनी इसलिए हाँ कर लेगी अगर उनका, देखिए अगर लेट्स से वो आप काफ़ी ज़्यादा पैसे दे रहे हो, अगर मैं 50% में भी मान जाता हूँ,
जी
तो
समझे।
उसमें से हम कर लेंगे, मतलब आपको भी दूंगा पैसे, अगर आप काम लेके आओगे, 10% मैंने आपको दे दिए पैसे, 40% मैंने रख लिए पैसे, ऐसे कह रहा हूँ
Correct, sir.
सर समझ गए सर, बट मेरी जो कंपनी है ना सीसी,
मैं।
इसमें क्या है कि जो टैग सिस्को के साथ जो भी हार्डवेयर परचेज होती है ऑल ओवर इंडिया, ये उसके बीच में ही कर लेते हैं।
हाँ राइट, तो उसके बीच में जब हार्डवेयर परचेज करते होंगे तो भाई दो ऑप्शन होती हैं, तो वो कहते होंगे आपको सपोर्ट हार्डवेयर की चाहिए, या आपको मतलब टेक्निकली भी आपको हेल्प चाहिए, तो अगर आप अकेली हार्डवेयर की लेते हो सर्विस, उसमें कितनी चार्जेस हैं, और अगर हम अगर टेक्निकल भी लेते हैं तो उसके उसके सेपरेट कितने चार्जेस हैं, वो।
ये क्वेश्चन तो नहीं पता सर, चलो फिर भी कंफर्म करेंगे मैनेजर से पूछ
नहीं, वो
लूंगा।
ओबियसली जब हम डिवाइस परचेज करते हैं, देखो वो हमसे चार्जेस लेते हैं, टेक्निकली जो टैग हम टैग के सेज करते हैं उसके भी लेते हैं, और हार्डवेयर की सर्विस की भी लेते हैं, तो हमारी कंपनी ये सेव कर रही है पैसे, मतलब
समझे।
हमारी कंपनी, क्योंकि हमारे पास सिस्को के इतने स्विचेज हैं, हम अगर टेक्निकल सपोर्ट लेंगे तो उसके इतने पैसे बनते हैं, पता नहीं शायद मे भी ये ब्रॉड में कंपनी है इसलिए, तो उस कॉस्ट को बचाने के लिए इन्होंने कोई, हम कोई टैग रेज नहीं केस करते, जब जैसे भी स्विच पे कोई इशू आता है तो हम खुद ही मैनेज कर लेते हैं।
ओके।
हाँ, हार्डवेयर की है, हार्डवेयर में अगर कुछ भी अगर हमें
वो
लगता है
तो सर
हार्डवेयर।
वो तो सर आरएम में वगैरह में जब कुछ भी
हाँ
फॉल्टी हो गया तो वो तो जाना ही पड़ेगा हार्डवेयर के लिए तो।
राइट राइट, मेरा कहने का मतलब है, अब आप पढ़ ही रहे हो, इतनी स्किल आप इतने तक, 90% आपको टैग रेज करना ही नहीं पड़े, खुद ही सोल्व कर दो इशू।
ठीक है सर, कोई भी टैग रेज होगा तो कंसल्ट करेंगे सर, मैनेजर के साथ ऑप्शन देंगे उसको।
मतलब जो अगर आपके पास ये ऑप्शन है, मतलब जरूरी नहीं, मैंने मैंने देखा कईयों की नहीं बनती होती मतलब इतनी ज्यादा, और इवन मैनेजर को भी क्या पता पता ना हो भी कितने पैसे जाते हैं। और दूसरा, कई कंपनियां रिस्क भी नहीं लेना चाहती क्योंकि उनका बिजनेस क्रिटिकल होता है। क्योंकि जैसे अभी मेरे, अगर आप मेरे साथ जुड़ते हो, मैं भी स्मॉल कंपनी जुड़ जाए, मुझको लगे भी हाँ यार इसको क्यों क्यों इतने पैसे देने, जब हम जैसे आपने महेश आपका क्या होगा, सिस्को में भी ज़्यादा चार्जेस कर रहा होगा, एंटिटी कम चार्जेस कर रहा होगा, दैट्स वाई आपने सर्विस एंटिटी से ले रखी है।
एनटीटी से ले रखे
एंट,
हैं।
एंटिटी सर
टेक्निकली
मेजरली
हार्डवेयर
प्रोजेक्ट,
दोनों एनटीटी सपोर्ट करते हैं इधर।
एंटिटी प्रोजेक्ट उठाती है सर मेनली इंडिया में। जैसे इनके पास एसबीआई था पहले, आईसीआईसी इनके पास है।
समझ गया मैं।
केसीसी का काफी ब्रॉड, वो काफी ब्रॉड जस्ट लाइक विप्रो सर। सर एक क्वेश्चन था मेरा।
बोलो।
लास्ट टाइम क्या हुआ था कि जब हम बॉक्स टू बॉक्स कम्युनिकेशन करवाते हैं, जैसे हवावे और सिस्को का,
हम्म
जैसे मान लो हमने थ्रू फाइबर केबल उनको कनेक्ट किया, हार्डवेयर डिफरेंट है तो उसमें स्मार्ट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन की कमांड चलती है। मेरे से इंटरव्यू में बंदे ने वो पूछ ली सर, मेरे को नहीं पता थी।
हवावे एंड सिस्को, भाई मेरे को देखो इस कमांड
हाँ
का
मैं
पता
समझ
है।
गया सर, समझ गया। ये तो किसी को भी नहीं आता होगी सर। वैसे तो मैं देख लूंगा, मतलब उसकी जो हमारी हो रखी होगी उसमें देख ही लूंगा इंटरफेस में जाकर क्या कमांड चली हुई है, स्मार्ट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन की कमांड पूछी उसने मेरे से। 2-3 क्वेश्चन गलत हुए सर इस इंटरव्यू में।
और
एक तो
और क्या क्वेश्चन गलत हुए?
एक तो ये नहीं आया उसने यहाँ पे पहले। दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये था,
तो जो
उसने
चीज
मेरे को
जो चीज नहीं आती सीधी बोल देनी कहीं मेरे को नहीं पती कमांड इसका, और कुछ मतलब जरूरी नहीं है 10 क्वेश्चन पूछे 10 के जवाब देने हैं। एक
नहीं नहीं
अगर
नहीं,
हाँ
12 में से सर उसने मेरे से एक तो पूछा था कि डिफॉल्ट रूट ओरिजिनेट करने की कमांड क्या है बीजीपी में, नेबर
हाँ
नेबर आईपी डिफॉल्ट इंफॉर्मेशन
हाँ
ओरिजिनेट।
हाँ, ये कमांड है।
और उसने मेरे से एक पूछा था कि ओएसपीएफ में इशू एक्सट्रा स्टेट का जो एमटी हुआ था वो बता दिया मैंने उसमें।
हम्म
एक एक उसने मेरे से पूछा था कि बीजीपी के वो अपने इनबाउंड और आउटबाउंड का ट्रैफिक वो करने के लिए,
हम्म
वो भी बता दिया था मैंने। और उसने मेरे से लास्ट में क्वेश्चन पूछा कि इसमें से रूट कौन सा प्रेफर्ड होगा, लोकल लोकल प्रेफरेंस वाला या ईबीजीपी वाला या बीजीपी वाला, आईबीजीपी वाला, ओएसपीएफ वाला, या मैं ईबीजीपी वाला बोल गया, जबकि लोकल प्रेफरेंस वाला रूट प्रेफर होता है ना सर सबसे सबसे
ऑब्वियसली
ज्यादा।
पहले वेट चेक होता है, फिर लोकल प्रेफरेंस चेक होता है, और तो ऑब्वियसली ऐसी चलती है ना इसकी।
हाँ हाँ, एक्चुअली मैं उसमें थोड़ी जल्दी कर गया आंसर देने में। मैंने उसकी बस वो देखी कि कैलकुलेट इसकी एडी वैल्यू क्या है, ईबीजीपी की चेक की 20 में, हाँ
नहीं नहीं
आईबीजीपी
नहीं
की
नहीं नहीं,
तो
वो तो यार अगर ये पीपीटी मैंने शुरू से कह रहा हूँ, इस पीपीटी को अगर आप रट लोगे ना तो आप हमेशा रेडी रहोगे इंटरव्यू देने के लिए। अगर तो इसमें देखेगा ये सारा बीजीपी बेस्ट पास सिलेक्शन ऑर्डर, पहले वेट फिर लोकल प्रेफरेंस।
नहीं नहीं, मैं समझ गया सर आपकी बात है, पर कई बार हो जाता है ना कि चलो।
हाँ आई नो हो जाता है कभी कभी।
पहले से तो बहुत इम्प्रूवमेंट है सर, पहले तो पहले दूसरे क्वेश्चन में ही हो जाता था, अब तो कम से कम 12 में से मतलब 8 के क्वेश्चन सही जा रहे हैं, 8-9 क्वेश्चन सही जा रहे हैं।
तो फिर भी पॉजिटिव फीडबैक है तो ऐसी बात नहीं है
हाँ
मतलब।
पॉजिटिव, मतलब जाती है सर 30 मिनट तक, 30-32 मिनट तक इंटरव्यू जाती है ठीक ठाक। एंड में आके एसडीएम में अड़ती है, थोड़ा बहुत वो आप करवा ही दोगे सर।
हम्म। नहीं ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, कोई ना, ट्राई करते रहो, हो जाएगा दोस्त।
सर एक जब ये स्विचेस वाला जो अपना एक चल रहा है, इसमें अब ये जो बता दो कि किस तरह के इश्यूज आते हैं रेगुलर में, कैसे एरर्स आते हैं।
हाँ एक क्लास लूंगा ट्रबल शूटिंग की आगे स्विचेस के ऊपर, तो उसके ऊपर करेंगे बात।
सर
सर
कमांड निकालना देखा आप ढूंढ रहे थे वो वाली।
ये स्मार्ट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन।
हाँ जी हाँ जी।
ये तो मेरे को कंपेरिजन बता रहा है इसका, सिस्को और हवाई राउटर स्विचेस।
सर
स्मार्ट
हवा में मार्केट से गायब क्यों हो रहा है?
इसलिए क्योंकि क्योंकि इसका बायकॉट कर रहे थे ना कंपनी, चाइनीज कंपनी है ना, इसलिए। जैसे चाइनीज का यूके, इंडिया बायकॉट कर रही थी, यूके बायकॉट कर रहा था ये कोरोना के बाद, तो और भी इसलिए।
नहीं, हमारा सारा रिप्लेस हो रहा है हवा में सर।
हाँ वो
सिस्को
वही
जो एज एज
कहते,
फोर आ रहा है।
मेरे भी, मैं जब यूके में था तो वहाँ पे हवाई राउटर लगे हुए थे, लेकिन वो बाद में उन्होंने जब ये कोरोना की वजह से पता नहीं क्या, तो चाइना, कितना कुछ तो चाइना का बायकॉट हो रहा था, टिकटॉक, वो यूके में भी सेम होने लग गया था, तो उसकी वजह से ये बंद कर दिया था, यूनिपर लगाने लग गए थे वो।
ओके।
ये ऐसे अगर एक आधे क्वेश्चन में फंसते हो स्मार्ट, ये नहीं, लेकिन इन ये बेसिक ये गलतियां करोगे तो वो इम्प्रेस नहीं होगा आपसे, अगर ये बिल्कुल बेसिक था दोस्त।
अरे सर उसको
हाँ
एक्चुअली मैंने उसको बोला कि मैंने पूरा काम कर रखा है हवावे और सिस्को पे,
हाँ
उसका सारा कुछ बता दिया मैंने।
हाँ।
एक्चुअली थोड़ा बंदा था ना कि कुछ बंदे डीप शिट में जाते हैं बिल्कुल। वो बिल्कुल ही बंदा मतलब हर चीज में बीच में घुस रहा था। यहाँ आके तो उसने मेरे को फंसा ही लिया।
हम्म। हाँ ये थोड़े से इन इन चीजों को, ये गलतियां मत करो। अगर ये गलती मैं भी, अगर ये क्वेश्चन सही बोल देता ना और इसको बता देता भी, पहले
हाँ
ये चेक होता है, चाहे उसने क्वेश्चन तेरे से ये भी पूछा थे, मतलब एक रूट लोकल प्रेफरेंस यार, एक और, तो उसको आंसर देता हाँ लोकल प्रेफरेंस का रूट प्रेफर होगा। तो एज सिस्को बीजीपी प्रेफर, पहले वेट, फिर लोकल प्रेफरेंस, ये भी डिस्क्राइब कर दे साथ ही सारे के सारे पॉइंट।
मैं उसको बता दिया था सर मैंने। एक्टिव जो अपनी स्टेट्स होती हैं बीजीपी की, एक्टिव, आइडल, आइडियल, एडमिन, मैंने सारा कुछ एक्सप्लेन किया उसको।
तो फिर अब क्या बोलते हैं एंड पे, मतलब बताएंगे
एंड में
मतलब।
उसने मेरे को एंड में उसने मेरे को बोला हैदराबाद में कितने में आएगा। मेरे 7 उनतालीस का मैंने 13.5 मांगा उससे। बोलता मैं बताता हूँ, पिछले 5-6 दिन से कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं है उसका।
हाँ वेट कर, हाँ 5-6 दिन तो कई बार लग जाते हैं, नॉट अ बिग डील। लेकिन
ठीक है।
हैदराबाद क्यों क्यों जा रहा है चंडीगढ़ छोड़ के उतने कम पैकेज में? एटलीस्ट 20 लाख पैकेज हो तब जाइयो।
ठीक है
इससे
सर।
इससे बढ़िया एनसीआर में देख, क्योंकि
ठीक है सर।
ट्रैवल करना सौखा है ना, तो इतने चंडीगढ़ में तू रहता, तू हैदराबाद में कोई फायदा नहीं है 13 लाख में जाने का।
मैं नहीं, मैं सोच रहा था सर 1 साल लगा के ना, आईटी हब है जैसे बेंगलोर या हैदराबाद या पुणे, 1 साल लगा के रिटर्न मारूं।
नहीं नहीं, इतना पैकेज तेरे को 12-13 लाख का तेरे को दिल्ली साइड ही मिल जाएगा, तू सैटरडे संडे घर भी आ सकता है, तो वहां जाने की जरूरत नहीं है तेरे को।
ठीक है।
आईटी यूटी हब कुछ नहीं है यार। हम्म। दिल्ली साइड ही मिल जाएगा तेरे को इतना पैकेज 12-13 लाख का तो।
ठीक है सर।
हम्म।
थैंक यू सर।
एनी अदर क्वेश्चन गाइस? तो ये पूछना है यार, ठीक है, कोई अगर कोई खुल सकता है अपने मैनेजर के साथ, और कोई अगर पैसे, मतलब ओबियसली कंपनी का फायदा होगा तो वो भी, मतलब ठीक है। हाँ जी।
सर एक चीज पूछनी है। मुझे इंटरव्यू में क्वेश्चन आया था, मुझे प्रॉपर क्वेश्चन याद नहीं है, तब मुझे बिल्कुल कुछ भी नहीं आता था। तो अगर पोर्ट डाउन होता है स्विच पे, कॉमन एरर कौन सा जनरेट होता है? कुछ CRC ऐसे कुछ करके कुछ एरर आता है?
वी विल कम टू दैट पॉइंट, ओके, जब हम क्लासेस कवर करेंगे ना, स्विच ट्रबल शूटिंग के ऊपर एक मेरी क्लास है, तो उसके ऊपर
ओके,
सारी कवर करेंगे।
ठीक ठीक है ठीक।
कनाडा में दोस्त मेन दिक्कत क्या है, इंटरव्यू क्रैक करना नहीं है, क्योंकि
काम
इतने,
करना है, हाँ।
हाँ इतने इजी क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं। और दूसरा, इंटरव्यू शेड्यूल जल्दी जल्दी नहीं होता यहाँ पे, ठीक
हाँ
है।
जी।
इंडिया में उल्टा है, इंडिया में शेड्यूल तो आपका हफ्ते में चाहे आप 2-3 इंटरव्यू दे दो, लेकिन वहाँ पे क्वेश्चन
यहाँ
देखो,
आती नहीं है, कॉल नहीं आती, बहुत
कॉल
मुश्किल।
नहीं, यस यहाँ पे कम है जॉब, मेन पॉइंट ये है आईटी
पर आई
की।
थिंक US में बहुत अच्छा है इस चीज में।
यूएसए में तो हाँ, यूएसए या इंडिया बस आईटी।
ठीक।
Okay, then we see you. So tomorrow I will confirm you. Okay. मतलब क्लास है कि नहीं है, शायद मैं भी, मेरे को ऑफिस जाना पड़ जाए तो क्लास नहीं होगी। तो फिर मैं आपको बताता हूँ, वेडनेसडे को क्लास लेते हैं, ठीक है। मीन वाइल गाइज लाइक प्रैक्टिकल करो, और पीपीटी को पढ़ो, और खुद प्रैक्टिस करो स्विचिंग पूरी अच्छे से, फिर राउटिंग ऐसे स्टेप बाय स्टेप पूरा अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करो इंटरव्यू के लिए।
थैंक यू सर।
और वो एक बार अपने मैनेजर से पूछिए कॉस्ट के बारे में, एक बड़ा आइडिया लगा लियो। तो देखते हैं उसका क्या कर सकते हैं, अगर कोई आता है वो जुड़ता है तो। क्योंकि पॉइंट ये है, क्योंकि कंपनी को भी ना थोड़ा सा बिलीव दिलाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मेरी एक तो अवेलेबिलिटी का, बाकी यार मैं, मेरे को लगता है यार, मैं तो यहाँ पे भी कर ही रहे हैं हैंडल, हम बिना उसके भी कर लेंगे सारा कुछ। स्विच के ऊपर कोई भी, चाहे स्विचिंग चाहे राउटिंग दोनों लगा लो। वाईफाई के लिए चाहिए टैक्स एक्सपोर्ट्स हेल्प, लेकिन राउटिंग और स्विचिंग के लिए कोई भी इश्यू हो।
श्योर सर।
ठीक है, ओके।